We've got an awesome lineup. It's our first episode of 2021, and we are going to focus on one question, as you know. What does the modern media plan look like in 2021? Dara Treseder joins us next as SVP, Head of Global Marketing and Communications at Peloton, the world's largest interactive fitness platform. She oversees brand and strategic marketing, consumer insights and strategy, communications, and creative to build the Peloton brand, growth, and international expansion. A vet C-suite marketer, Dara was previously at Carbon, GE, Apple, and Goldman Sachs. Welcome, Dara.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. Good to see you, Gary. Happy 2021.
Same to you. It's so good to see you. I mean, this will be a lot of fun. I mean, you're sitting on as hot of a brand as there is, which I'm sure has its own, challenges, high class problems in comparison to others. Just for 4 seconds before we go into the direct question, what an incredible time for this brand. Obviously nobody's excited about a global pandemic and there's so much pain, but we're just going to put this into business terms. The product was so built for the moment. That must've been crazy.
Yeah, I think I give so much credit to our incredible founder, John Foley. He knew a truth which more people have come to see, which is you can get an enjoyable, energetic, effective workout from the comfort of your home with a connected fitness product. But when he came up with that idea, it was novel, right? And you've seen how the category has grown and expanded thanks to his leadership and Peloton's leadership. So, I think the pandemic has accelerated the trend, but this is a permanent shift. This is a permanent shift that people are now enjoying, exercising, connecting with friends and family from the comfort of their home using a connected fitness product.
When you think about media planning this year, it's obviously an interesting time for this brand and an opportunistic time. Is there anything that's made the cut this year that wasn't part of 2020's plan, which was a reaction to the insights that you garnered from 2020?
Yeah, I think I would say there are sort of two big things. I think one is the relationship between creative and media. I think more than ever before, that connection is so critical, right? It's so important that early up, when we're thinking about the marketing strategy and the plan, that creative and media are involved upfront and are actually working together to determine what makes the most sense. Because I think gone are the days where, a creative might just come up with an idea, in a silo, and media does kind of the media planning and just the creative hands off over the assets. That's not the reality.
You are aware, because I know your pedigree, that is the far majority of the behavior of the Fortune 500 landscape.
And I think that's what I'm saying is that shouldn't be. So I think if you're kind of if you're leading what you hope to be a modern marketing organization, you really can't operate that way. And that's what, I'm really excited about the work that we've done together as a team at Peloton. And I say we, right, because it's really, working together with my amazing teammates, is come together and updated our campaign process so that connection and partnership between creative and media is happening so much more seamlessly. That is enabling us to, I think, really perform better and deliver work that pushes the brand and the business forward. So I think that's just something that's so critical and so important. And I know it's not kind of the traditional way our industry has run. You kind of have media folks and creative folks. And I think that integration is so critical and so important.
And I apologize. And not only that, as you know, it's also top down in boardrooms, subjective calls, push it down, matching luggage on the internet, versus what happens when you integrate creative and media together in these lower and mid funnels, which branding is now being done. And you're able to actually use it as a consumer insights driver to funnel up instead of matching. Yeah, Dara, I don't think most people understand how upside down the whole thing is.
I agree with you. And I think that
when in your career did you first have the taste? This one's probably quite progressive compared to knowing your Rolodex. Was it here where you were like, oh shit, this is much deeper than I realized? Or was it somewhere along the line?
It was actually probably the first time I became a CMO when I had the ability, right, to like effect change, that I realized, oh, it doesn't have to have, I don't need to do it the way it's always been done. This can be better. And then trying it out and seeing the result inspired me. So now I've kind of carried that with me in all of my sort of, all the other roles I've been in. But it was the first time when I had the opportunity to be in leadership where I realized I can make a change. And guess what? This is so much better. And I think it's really important that we see that, as marketers, and that we bring that to our organization.
What do you tell your fellow Fortune 500 CMOs that know that you're further down that path when they hit you up? Like, what's your advice to them, knowing that the troubles they have with their holding company relationships or their board or their internal MMM, or like, how do you consult them on bringing that to a reality?
Honestly, I tell them the success stories. Right. Because I think many times people, are moved, even though, I'm a creative storyteller, but also data driven. People are moved by data, then they're moved by stories. So being able to say, well, here's an example of what we did, here's how it worked. I think that kind of inspires them to be able to go back to their teams. And I always say, why don't you try it? You don't have to start it with everything. Try it with a few projects so you have some strong, proof points that you can then use to sort of, especially for those that are working where they have such large teams, it would take a substantial, reorganization, recalibration, changing culture, right, to drive. But I honestly believe that is the future of marketing. I think that is the way that we need to operate as an organization. One of the key things, one of our key values at Peloton is empower teams of smart creatives. How do you do that if you don't have when we say the creatives, we don't only mean people who work in creative, right? Even in media, there's a lot of media innovation and media creativity. How can we empower our teams if we don't bring them together to be able to think?
Agreed. And what about something we call post-creative strategists, right?
Exactly.
Who's doing the qualitative read through on the work?
Exactly.
Because, the math shows one story, but the 17,000 comments across all that content in a month has incredible consumer insight.
Exactly.
Is that a big part of your world?
It's a huge part. It's a big part. So, I've got the consumer strategy and insights team as well. And so when we look at our current campaign process, we have our media team, our creative team working with the consumer strategy and insights team, working together as one, right? Whether it's with the brand marketer or the product marketer, kind of leading that effort in order to bring about the best work. And I think it's that, connection between all these teams working together, not just, I ship something to you, you go do this, but being included up front. I think even in the ideation sessions, in the strategic sessions, I think allows each of these experts to be better at what they do.
I understand. Audio I got 2 minutes. I could speak to you for 2 hours. 2 minutes on audio. Is it a part of your mix? How are you thinking about it? You start to see the emergence of things like Clubhouse. We've got an incredibly emerging, interesting thing with Spotify ads, podcasting. Thoughts on audio?
I think audio is important, right? I think the power of voice is important. And we actually, I think, experience that as a brand in a very strong way because, our instructors are speaking and they're unscripted, right? And there's some of the most intelligent, talented, inspiring people you've ever met. And they're speaking from their experience, from their story. So audio, I think, plays an interesting role because it's living within our product. But even in our marketing, it also sort of lives within that space as well. And when I think about some of the offerings we have on our platform, like outdoor running, right? That's really audio. That's the instructor speaking to you. So I think the way we think about audio is as opposed to it just sitting outside as just this one thing, we think about how do we incorporate this into the different expressions of the Peloton brand? And how do we use that to continue to cultivate and build connection within our community, with our members?
This was riveting. I appreciate you. I wish you continued success. I really mean it.
Thank you so much, Gary. It was so great to be on here with you. Really and thanks for all you're doing for the industry. It's always great to kind of get your insights and wisdom, and just really excited to be here.
You're very sweet. Thank you.